And good morning and welcome to the VSA Capital 5-Minute Morning Miner on Friday the 9th of May. It's a nice sunny day. It's a Friday. I think the market's going to be pretty quiet today, Paul, isn't it?
I would think it would be, yes, but a little bit sigh of relief with the new USA-UK trade deal.
Look, we don't know the full details of it yet, though, so, we don't want to get too excited. And obviously we've got the Indian trade deal, and we don't want to get too excited about it. These things take a long time as well to put in place. I mean, well done, Keir Starmer. You've got to give him some credit. Probably a lot of the work for both of those deals was done actually in the previous government. But anyway, we also, of course, yesterday had a cut in interest rates. So it all helped, shall we say, keep the market bubbling along. News in mining a little bit short today. Probably the one you should talk about. We had Q1 results, didn't we, from Wheaton Precious Metals, and they're listed in the UK.
Yes, that's right. Q1 results, first quarter of a record $470 million in revenue from this royalty company, $254 million in net earnings on $361 million in operating cash flow. So very nice margins and performance there for this, but you would expect that on rising prices and being a royalty company where they've paid less than what it would be market costs for the bullion that they receive. Declared a quarterly dividend of 16.5 cents a share, and they have a cash balance of $1.1 billion and no debt, and another $2 billion in revolving credit facilities available to do yet more deals. Their average cash costs right down there because they buy in portfolio those projects at much lower cost ounces. So 446 per gold equivalent ounce, which was only up about 0.5% on the first quarter of 2024. And giving them a cash operating margin on what they sold the gold for, or those equivalent ounces for, at $2,400. So they're just exemplary margins for royalty companies these days at this point. So, and the increase on the dividend would certainly of 6.5% as declared also would be pleasing for shareholders.
Yeah, and that's about the news today. Worth maybe just commenting. I've just picked up an article, and it's an article by a group called Undervalued Shares. And what's interesting is it's actually got a whole report on litigation finance, and it lists 10 litigation finance cases around the world. Obviously, it's something that we've talked about quite a lot at VSA because we've obviously covered Panthera Resources, which is one of the stocks they do mention. But we've looked at the whole sector. So they also mention Equatorial Resources. Again, all of these stocks, I don't know the full details of them, so I'm just literally sort of mentioning them, shall we say. Silver Bull Resources, Emerson, which we do know, that's a Moroccan one, and listed on AIM, so that's quite interesting. Montero Mining and Exploration, Energy Transition Minerals, Parker Vision. Again, I don't know these, I'm just literally reading it off this report, but it's a very interesting report. Sarama Resources, which I know we have been looking at. Zenith Energy, which is actually in the oil space, but I do know that one slightly. Malden Minerals, and the final one they mention is Panthera Resources. So it's interesting because it's an asset class, which is basically in the mining space mainly, that is starting to become very, very popular, and people are making a lot of money in it. We have written a piece of research talking through a lot of those companies, and the other ones, the famous one is GreenX. So if you're anybody listening to this has got more interest in that, then do contact us, and we'll try and provide you more information. You got any view on that, Paul? It's not really your space particularly, is it?
Well, I do have a view on it. It's just as far as the sectors involved, the representation, unless the article further says that they were specifically targeting mining companies, the litigation activity is in the mining space in particular, where in the past as well, where prior deals have been completed in favor of mining companies, would suggest that their own documentation as they go into these arrangements with foreign powers in the first place, pretty tight from a legal basis, and because they've been negotiated so long in detail with the governments before the deals were done, hard for the governments to then renege and somehow feel that they've been ill-treated or otherwise not fully aware of the consequences of the deals that they signed. So I can see why these litigation investment firms specializing in this are taking these on.
It's a case of you can't have your cake and eat it too for the governments, but there you go. All right, everybody have a great weekend. And if you're out and about today, because you're taking a long weekend, enjoy it as well. And we'll be back on Monday.
Very good. See you then.
This podcast has been produced and edited by VSA Capital. It is intended for information purposes and not as investment advice. The information is intended for recipients who understand the risks associated with equity investments in smaller companies. Please do your own research and do not rely on a single source when making an investment decision. VSA Capital may derive fees from this content and seeks to do business with the companies mentioned.